Hi everybody, it's Amy and you have found Amy Loves Crochet. Thank you for stopping by with me this morning, whether this is your first time with me or you're a returning viewer or you're actually a subscriber. I do really appreciate it. I try to bring you different content, different yarn talk, different crochet things. So today what I've got to share with you is somewhat of a fail to a fabulous. I told you guys in the beginning that I would show you everything, all my fabulous as well as all my fail, because I am, you know, this is an amoeba. This is constantly changing and growing. You do new stitches, you forget old stitches. You go back to old stitches that you used to love. You try new things and it doesn't work out, so that's a fail. So what I have to show for you today is I'm going to put a little link up here in the top. The first time I've done that, so I hope it works out okay. I posted a video called What Would You Do? And there were two items on that video that were halfway through, or in the beginning stages of being a project, and I didn't like how it was turning out and I didn't want to frog it. So I asked y'all what you would do with it. And I had a very nice comment from Mary that said, go ahead and frog it. You're not enjoying that beautiful yarn. And she was so right. I didn't even consider that. I didn't want to frog all the hard work that I had done on that blanket. It was a back loop only, half double crochet, and it was taking me forever. And if you've ever experienced using a cake like these, sometimes the color bleeds through. So there was even a part that's, one color and then it's got a splotch of another color on it, and it just doesn't look very professional or very pretty at all. So I wanted to do a chevron, and I wanted to do, I decided to go ahead and frog it out. I did a single crochet of gray around the blanket and I cut that off, and then I just frogged the whole thing and caked it. So I had three full cakes, three full unwrapped, unused banded cakes, plus a partial from there, plus these two half cakes. So I'm not sure how much, if it was completely 5 cakes, if it was into 6 cakes, I'm not sure. But so I started the redo as a chevron. I wanted a chevron that was the super spiky, short, doom, doom. I've done lots of waves, but I wanted to do a spiky chevron. And I started to do it, and it was, I didn't realize that to get that spike like that, you have to do a single crochet. And I wasn't about to do a single crochet for 6 giant skeins that come in 383 yards. I'm not single crocheting 6 skeins of 383 yards. So what I decided to do after I ripped all of that out was then alternate colors. So then that didn't work out, so I ripped that out. So this was probably the 4th attempt on making something with this yarn, and I could not be happier with it. I could not be happier with it. There's a bunch of videos out there on waves and chevrons and ripples, and whether you're using 1 string of yarn or 2 strings of yarn or this size hook or that size hook or whatever. So I used a J hook, and I held 2 strings together of this Caron Cakes. This is the band from it, and this was called Zucchini Loaf. So it's got quite a bit of yardage here in a 7.1 ounce skein. So I'm still trying to learn my focusing. I don't know how this works because I can see that's not focused, so I'm sorry for that. But anyway, here's the blanket. Oh my gosh, I could not be happier. So this is, like I said, this is 2 strands together, and this pattern is, you start with, you chain out a bunch. I don't know here how much it is off the top of my head, but you do a double. So like into the 4th hook or 4th chain or whatnot, you do a double, and then you do so that gives you 2 doubles in this end space, and then you do a total of 7 double crochets, and then you skip 2, and then you do 7 double crochets back up to the top. So here's the valley and here's the peak. So you've got 2 chains, and then you don't skip any. You go from 1 stitch right to the very next stitch. So you're not skipping any here in the top. You skip 2 in the bottom, and you don't do any chains in the top, and then you do 2 chains in the top, and you don't skip any on the bottom. So it's 7 with an extra 1 on each end. Each end is going to have 2 double crochets there. And so there you go. So I just picked up 2. I wasn't sure how the colors were all going to skew together, how it was going to all play out. And In other blankets where I've held two strings together, I try to color control it so that I don't get certain groupings. And the only thing that I did with this one is that I made sure that the colors were going in the same direction. Sometimes when you get a cake, the colors will start in the center, say blue, red, orange, but then in a different cake, it will go orange, red, blue. So you really have to make sure that your direction of color flows the same in all of your cakes. I did a big blanket. I did a blanket that's hanging on my display there with this pink and blues, and I think I had 8 skeins or 10 skeins of that, and I had to go through it and make sure that the colors were flowing in the same direction, or else you're going to have, I mean, and that's okay if you want to do that. That's the randomization that makes it so pretty and so different from anybody else's. But for me, and working on this blanket, I wanted, and for most blankets, because I'm OCD, I wanted to make sure that the colors were going in the same direction. So, like I said, I could not be happier. It is arm length, a little bit shorter than arm length. I got this one bent in a little bit. It definitely is going to be a lap blanket, not a full length blanket, but it's wide enough for a big person, or you and your buddy, or whatnot. So if you have some yarn that you're not sure what to do with it, hold it together with something else, and you'll never know what you'll come up with. I could not have imagined that this was as pretty as it is. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Okay. So then this one that I got to show you, it's somewhat more, I'm a little bit crooked. It's somewhat more of, I'm not going to say it's a fail because I love the yarn and I love the pattern. I just don't love what I did to it. So what I did is I used these Ogos up here. It's called Blue Moon, and there are 3 different shades of blue and 2 different shades of yellow. Now what I wanted to do was a cluster. I'm not sure the name of this because it's just called a cluster stitch. I've done it before, and it's you start some double crochets and then don't finish them, and then finish it all together when you've got 4 loops on your hook or something like that. And so that was the pattern. The whole blanket was these guys. And I've done that before lots of times. But I decided I wanted to kind of make this something different, make it my own, whatnot. You do that. That's the beauty of crochet. You can change it up. So what I did with this one is I wanted some double crochets in with the pattern as well. I didn't just want all of the clusters. And so I was trying to do some color controlling, and I don't know why. I should have just let it go. It was pretty, the colors are pretty enough. It doesn't matter that they weren't, that, you know, why was I trying to color control it? I don't know. So, anytime you do a blanket that goes back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, you're going to have some that is the front and some that is the back. And I thought about this. I did not want that. I wanted all of it to be the same front side. So I did the clusters, and then I did a row of single crochet, and then a row of double crochet, and then back to my clusters. So that, and then I did a single, so I did cluster, single, double crochets, single, cluster, single, double crochet, singles. So that the clusters and that the double crochets were all the right side on the same side. So that's good. That's good. Amy gets a point for that, right? Well, when it came time to putting the border on, I didn't think through that I had already done that wonderful step, and I was a little bit cuckoo about it. And so I started the first row of single crochet. The blue single crochet is on the wrong side, is on the wrong direction, but then everything else is on the right direction to the cluster. The cluster is the one that you can see the best. So here's the cluster on the front side, and it's so pretty. And then you turn it over and it looks like the back of a stitch. You can totally tell. Same thing on the double crochets. Here's the front of my row. You can see the double crochet stitching. And then here's the back of that row. Those look like the back of double crochets. So that was error number 1, is that my blue border, that first single crochet is on the wrong side. That by itself, you maybe could not have told, you wouldn't be able to see that unless I told you that. So that's fine and dandy. But the other thing is that I get a little bit goofy with tying in my ends. And when I'm going to do a border, I think, oh, I'll just cover them up with a border. But that doesn't always work. and I should know that by now, and I'm kind of ashamed of how uglified the borders in here look. You can see I did not do a very good job of hiding up all those strands. So when you're going to do rows of color like this, you have got to tie in the yarn to the row of that color. I should have put that yellow right back into here, and I didn't. I just tried to cover it up with a border. So I see it like a sore thumb. I do not like it. But the other thing that I did was, that I'm kind of mad at myself, like I said, was that I did the color controlling, because these Ogos are meant to run from one to the other like with ease. So you have color changing and you don't have to tie off your yarn and tie in some new strands. But what does Amy do? Amy makes it hard. Amy color controls and then has 10,000 strands to tie in, and I'm not happy about that. But what I did want to do was alternate. So there are 2 rows of yellow and 3 rows of blue. Excuse me. So I was trying to keep it changed up a little bit. So this is a dark yellow and then a light yellow and then dark yellow and light yellow, and those are 2 rows. And then the blues, other than the beginning one here, was 3 rows of blue before I changed out the color of the blue again. So then at the bottom I just did 1 row of blue so that it would match the top 1 row of blue. So I'm not thrilled with this. And this isn't even a lap blanket. This is on my feet and not even at my waist. So this was definitely going to be a baby blanket or a little toddler blanket or something. And I had, when I started this, I had 8 skeins of this Blue Moon colorway Ogo. So I still have 5 and partial. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 fulls and then some partials, like probably 1.5 that would be made up of the partials because of the color coding and the changing up that I did. So there you have it, folks. Some fabulous, some fail to fabulous, some kind of fail. I don't know. The problems that I see in this probably won't be seen by anybody else. Nobody's going to have an eye for that except maybe, you know, you of your own work. You're most critical of your own work, right? And then other crocheters might have seen it and kind of whispered about it, but it happens. It's not the end of the world. The blanket will still be beautiful and keep somebody warm and wrap up some little youngins in the blues. So, like I said, I've done this pattern before on another blanket, and I can't wait to show you that one because I think I talked about it a little bit before. It was in a 3-weight that was an ice cream yarn from Hobby Lobby's clearance from my very, very first year that I got. So thanks for stopping in with me today, guys. These, you know, I'm not a professional. I'm just Amy, and I just love to crochet and talk about yarn, and I want to show off what I've done. And my husband's so tired of seeing it, so you guys are it, you know. So have a wonderful day. I hope you don't melt out there. We've had 100-degree days for the last couple. This week's been unbearable. So inside with lots of fans and lots of water. Stay hydrated. Remember your animals. Don't leave anybody in a hot car. Have a wonderful day. Love you guys. See you again. Hope to see you again soon. Bye.